All right, we might as well get started. We will begin our meeting tonight with a public hearing. And so the notice of the public hearing, August 18th, 2020 at 7 p.m. I'd like to call this public hearing to order. On the agenda, item 2 is a notice is hereby given by the Town Board of the Town of Lake Mills, Wisconsin, that a public hearing will be held on the 18th day of August 2020 at the Town Hall at 1111 South Main Street, Lake Mills, starting at 7 p.m. to consider the proposed amendments of Town Ordinance 4-1, general offenses.
Do you want me to read what was changed?
Yes, why don't you highlight those things?
On the notice that was posted, we've got, we added or updated statute numbers for 94019 for battery, 96141 for drugs, and then we added 94320 for theft, 94324 for issue worthless check, 94334 receive stolen property, 94840 contributing to delinquency, and 12504 for alcohol licensing requirements. Those are added to the ordinance and
All
their
right.
offenses.
Any discussion on this from our board?
No. Nope.
Thank you, Matt, for helping us update that. I don't know which one of your officers helped, but that was good. Kevin? All right. Is there anyone else that would like to make a public comment on this? Hearing none, I'll ask for an move to adjourn the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you very much. The public hearing is adjourned. Moving right on to the Town of Lake Mills Town Board regular meeting, August 18th, 2020, directly following the public hearing. Item number 1 is a call to order. I would call the meeting to order and note that the notice was posted at the town hall and also on the town's website. Item 2 on the agenda is an adoption of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as printed.
Second.
All right, thank you. Is there any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, the same side. Item 3, approval of the minutes from our July meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from our public hearing on July 14th, 2020.
Second the motion.
All right, is there any discussion on these minutes? Hearing none, thank you, Robin, for compiling them and for publishing them. All in favor of adopting the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, the same sign. The minutes are approved from the July meeting. Item,
No, that was a public hearing.
oh, sorry.
So now we have to do.
I'll make
Now
a
we're
mo-
doing the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the town board meeting minutes of July 14th.
Second.
Is there any discussion on these minutes? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the minutes from the town board meeting on July 14th, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Minutes are approved. Item 4, the treasurer's report. You gotta let me dig around to find it.
I'd make a motion to approve the August treasurer's report.
Second.
Is there any discussion or questions on that report? Hearing none, thank you, Sharon, for compiling it, and Robin for generating the checks. All in favor of approving the August 20th Treasurer's Report, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Moving on to the general fund vouching.
I'll make a motion to approve August disbursements of $37,916.81.
Second.
Is there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the vouching, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Thank you. Item 6, reports. Officer Miller.
We had 112 and a half hours of lake patrol hours in July. Issued 5 citations, 5 warnings. Had 16 compliance and safety inspections of boats and assisted 3 individuals on the lake. For the road patrol, we had 48 hours of patrol. Had 10 complaints that we handled, 9.5 hours on those complaints. Had 1 criminal arrest. And handled 1 traffic crash. Had 20 traffic stops, 7 warnings, 17 citations, 9.5 hours of radar, and 5 ordinance citations issued. 17 park checks and 3 extra patrols monitored. during the month of July.
Thank you, Chief Miller. Anybody have any questions for our police chief? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 7, which is a review of applications that have been filed. Item A is a discussion and/or decision of a request for a variance of setbacks for an addition to a garage for Brian and Trina Booth at W9627 Bridge Street, Waterloo, and the parcel number. Is Tina here? Oh, you are here. Hi.
I am actually.
You're representing.
Yes.
If you would go up to the podium,
Oh,
there's
sure.
a microphone on there,
I
so.
also do have an updated map to give
All right,
everyone.
that'd be good.
Okay.
With the mask,
See
it's
what
hard
we're
to hear.
talking
Thank you.
We didn't really have a report from our planning committee, did we?
On this? No? None,
It's not on our
It's not
agenda.
on the agenda. That's a COVID thing, we don't do that.
Piecemeal it out, Jim.
Well, do you want to give us an update from planning? I think you should.
Okay, the,
Before we begin the discussion of applications, Jim is our representative who serves on the planning committee.
Okay.
on this petition, we discussed it, and it was, she's asking for a variance off of Highway O, 50 feet to build a garage. Her understanding was that it was 100 foot from the center line of the road. Steve Nass, our Plan Commission chairman, said that his information showed that they only needed 50 feet from Highway O at that point. So we questioned whether you even needed a variance, but the Plan Commission did approve it in case you did. So that's where we were at there. I don't know if you checked into that.
Pretty much it's at the same point, yeah, that it's 50 feet from the right-of-way. You said the right-of-way was 33 feet, so we need to be 83 feet from the center
Okay.
line.
Okay.
And the way we have it set up, we're about 86 feet from the center line. The reason I asked for a variance is when we went in to get the county zoning permit, they stated that we needed a variance, so that's why we're here. I think the reason is it says the more restrictive distance shall apply, which I guess more restricted would be 100 feet from the center line, and we'll be at 86.
I don't have a problem with this. I see this line that goes here right to this
Right,
other driveway.
yeah,
I don't have a problem.
everything there is a lot closer.
I guess it'll be up to you to work it out with the county as far as the variance goes, if
Okay.
it is not necessary or not necessary. Will it go before the zoning committee first and then on to the Board of Adjustment?
I think it goes right to
The Board of Adjustment.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
believe so.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve the request for a variance from the setbacks for Brian and Tina Booth on Bridge Street in Waterloo. Is there a second?
second to motion.
Is there any discussion? Do you have any questions?
I don't know.
You need help, you know you can come back to us. We will have you in the office on what the next procedure will be.
Okay, and I think I get something.
Email them,
Yes.
or does it go right to the county?
If you haven't applied it fine already, they'll send me paperwork that we'll sign off on.
Okay.
and I'll send copies to them.
Awesome. Okay,
All right, all in favor of approving this, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Item B, discussion or decision on a request for a rezone of 5 acres from A1 lot to A3 made by David and Mary Muldrink. They are not here tonight. I do think we could make this decision. Do you want to give us an update from planning?
Yeah, she's asking for a 5-acre parcel split of the existing house off of, he owns 60 acres, contiguous, around 60 acres, a little over. So by town ordinance, he would be allowed 2 splits, and we had a discussion on this one, asked him when the house was built. He thought it was built around 76, and there's I thought the date was 1978. Steve Nass,
75, I think.
Steve Nass said it was 75, so he's right in that area. He would rather do a farm consolidation if he can, and then he would still have two remaining splits. So we approved it with the farm consolidation for the 5 acre and existing buildings without knowing that information. I was hoping he'd be here to
Well, do you
clarify that.
want to wait and,
Well, we could move it on to the county unless there's an objection to.
He said it was okay to wait a month because he knew he wasn't going to be here, maybe he just felt the need to.
The other issue that I guess is if it's not a consolidation, then it's a 5 acre, which is over our ordinance.
yes.
So it is kind of a
Let's wait. He's in no big hurry.
No.
okay.
He made that pretty clear the other night.
The only other thing he can do, Jim, is he can consolidate his splits, and use it up
Then
right
you'd only
there.
have 4. Then you'd only have 4 acres.
Oh, right, yeah, because
He's asking for 5.
yeah.
So he's still over that way.
Okay, we'll just postpone that, so put that on your list for next month.
I think we need to contact him though and ask him if he can
Yes,
prove when his
because I
house
don't
was
think he
built.
really said that
And
he
then
was
we
gonna
need
do
to
that.
check in to the county ordinance to make sure it's
Yeah, it's
1975.
pre-75, I believe.
I thought we were
I thought that's
operating
a-
on 78.
Well, our,
Okay,
yeah.
good. All right, item C, discussion or decision on a request to add a culvert and fill to replace the ditch in the stormwater easement that is part of lot 73 at W8311 Bridle Path, Shorewood Hills Road, Shorewood Hills North subdivision. Contractor Jamie Gould, owner Darren Fugelstead. Are you guys here?
Yes.
Yeah, there you
Do you have some engineering plans?
I sent it to Robin.
When did you send it? My internet's been down this afternoon. How are you?
I sent it early this morning.
Well, we certainly have not had time to look at that or review that. I was hoping that you guys would have that extra week so that you could bring that to us so that we could have our engineer look at that. Were we not on the same page here?
Well,
Apparently not.
Well, it took some time to get it, but I,
Yes, I understand, and, we were trying to get this done so that you guys could go forward. If you now have that, Robin, I guess we'll have to postpone this until the 8th of September too, so that our engineer can take a look at it.
I have hard copies right now if you guys want it, or if you guys want it electronically.
Darren.
I still realize.
Here, remember now, we have all been back over this, Dave, our engineer Corey, 2 or 3 times. It's up to you now to provide those drawings so that we can have them reviewed by our engineer. And you have to give us the time to do that.
yeah, I didn't look back and see. I don't know if it was last week or late last week, or I'd have to look and see when we sent it.
All right.
I understand where you're coming from.
Okay. Put this too on next month's agenda. I'm sorry that you guys have had to come out tonight without the information that we need. But I know I've given Corey the heads up on this. He knows it's coming. So if we have it, then we'll send it on to him. Our next meeting is the 8th of September. So it's like 3 weeks from now. That should give us time to review it.
Okay.
All right?
And I didn't get that email, so if you need to send it again, yeah.
All right, thank you. Item D, discussion and/or decision of a request for the operator's license for Jenny Davenport at the London Depot. Matt, you have the paperwork on this?
I do, and I see nothing for issues.
All right, I would make a motion to approve her operator's license.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the license for Jenny Davenport at the London Depot, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Item 8, new business. A, discussion or decision of a proposal for town hall property made by Jason Forrest, representing Forrest Enterprises, Cason LLC, and Formal Development. Mr. Forrest, welcome.
Good evening. Thanks for taking some time and just want to be able to present an opportunity, basically, that the town board can discuss for future or near future or whenever.
Why don't I
Partner,
read this letter, Jason?
pardon?
Why don't I read this letter?
Sure, thank you.
So that everybody gets where, we were communicated with by Forest Enterprises on the 3rd of August. I'm contacting you regarding a new land opportunity for the township. Last month, the Lake Mills City Council approved the land purchase of the property adjacent to the town hall at the corner of Sandy Beach Road. I am a member of the group purchasing the land, and closing is set for early fall. Several years back, I offered some land on Finch Brothers Road for a new town hall and recycling center. I feel as though this may be a great opportunity for both sides to work together towards a common goal, seeing the best use of the land with the best interest of both parties. Time may move quickly, and we'd like to have some open discussion regarding land purchase and sale and exchange if you feel it has value. Please consider researching land value in the area. Do not hesitate to contact me regarding the opportunity. The goal is to provide each party with the best value for respective land and give the opportunity to see the township enhanced with new land and a new building for the foreseeable future. Please contact myself with any questions. Thank you for your consideration. Signed, Jason Forrest. That kind of sums up what Jason has offered to us, and now we're going to hear a little more about it.
Sure. Yeah, that's everything in that is still exactly as we're proposing or offering. We don't have a proposal per se put together, but my partner Doug Millay and we will be closing on the land next door in the near future. And the city has interest of including many properties in the TID to enhance the south side of the property. So there's business opportunities to be had. And at the same time, being part of it with land available, I thought there was an opportunity where both parties could see what value their land has, see if it's an interest to each other, to where property could be exchanged possibly, whether it's 1 acre, 2 acres, 5 acres, whatever the I don't know if there's a equal exchange for something. But we just wanted to make it open to the board to talk about and discuss if if the timing's right. Timing for the south end of town is right. Whether or not that fits the town board and the township, that I don't know. But opportunity is there, and if things don't move, I don't know what that means. It's not a promise or any kind of guarantee that something couldn't happen in the future, but just wanted to make sure that it was open. So we're here to maybe take a couple questions if there's more to it or not that I might be missing, but.
Jay, do you have a timetable of when you're looking at, if we were able to get an arrangement to when you would want to develop this so that we wouldn't hold you up?
The closing is set for about a month from now, and we would be eager to do something in 2021. Probably later in the calendar year, based on other things that are happening. It would take us a while to get the steam rolling and get this part prepared and ready, or to get that going. But to put time into drafting and designing and all those kind of things, not knowing, being in limbo, may also then become a tipping point of, oh boy, we got that already, and decisions might not be made. So then we go, okay, well, it may cost more to redesign than change, and
Yep, I get it.
reinvent the wheel halfway through the process would be taking a few steps backwards. So we thought we would bring it up sooner than later.
How much area is the city looking at for their TID program? These-
I think there's multiple areas all throughout the whole south end of town. I know there's some land down Sandy Beach. The topo properties included my old shop, the old 1204 South Main. The subdivision on the south end of town going out Mud Lake Road is going to be in the TID. I don't know how big of a border they already drew of what could be included, but they welcome the discussion that this could be part of it, or it may already be. I don't know that detail honestly, but people at City Hall are be like, yeah, great, good idea. So,
But it wouldn't be any further north. Probably not.
don't know about the neighboring
Probably
property,
from here.
honestly. Yeah,
Okay.
I think when they were drawing the TID, I asked them to include all the land up to Columbus Street,
sure,
so that would be past there.
right.
I don't know, I've never looked at the final TID document. Well, what are you suggesting, Jason? You still have land on Finch Brothers Road.
Correct. The property out there, when I purchased it in 2005 from Dennis Zalowski, he actually, it's approximately 45 acres, 46, give or take. He had actually platted 2 1-acre parcels, and I don't know if platted is the right word, but he had them
He drew them up, but he never
identified
did it.
on the property during that split of land with him, whenever he was allowed. So there's already 2 parcels of 1 acre size. And I'm making a wide assumption that the property out there has got some business already zoned with it, so commercial building of some kind would probably fit fairly easily. I don't know if those splits can be changed into different sizes. I'm guessing there's a process to do that, whether or not they can
Well,
be
since
made
they were never recorded, I think that the plate is, open.
Pretty
You have
open,
to go
yeah.
through planning on that, but.
Right, so if they became 3 acres or 5
I
acres.
believe it's A2 is what it's.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
when
think
I
it's,
spoke with Deb over at the county, she explained that for an A2 lot, we could parcel something off no matter what size we need, but that doesn't take away any other further parcel split. So that would not affect those 2 other parcels that were drawn up,
oh, okay,
is my understanding.
okay, good to know.
And I also asked her what zoning a town hall would need, and she used the example of the Waterloo Town Hall, and she said that they're on A2 with a conditional use for the government building. And that's what they require for zoning. So it's the same zoning currently is what we need.
Right.
So maybe those 2 lots are closer, as you come in Finch Brothers Road and it takes a curve around the farmhouse there, they're on the next bend. That's where they're located right now, so they could be moved or, see what space might fit best out there. There's plenty of high ground in that corner
Right.
to make something happen, and also with all the new DNR requirements, water runoff and things like that, there is already a low spot far away from houses and roads that could be developed with runoff and different things. Centrally located for town, easy access off of a county highway. If there's future storage for the lake managing process, the police vehicles, different things like that, they're right on a county road in the central part of town. Might be some conveniences that work well for a bunch of reasons. But just wanted to bring it up for discussion and see what interest there is. We do have appraisals and purchase price, all set with the city. So I think there'd be a good comparison in terms of appraisals, exactly, or very recent. And I'm guessing the town, or not the town, but the county probably has land values that could be researched or used for the ag land process.
Well, I'm sure you have a dollar figure in mind, Jason. Why don't you just lay it on us?
Of here?
Yeah?
Oh, we don't, I'm sorry. No, we haven't got to that far.
All right.
Do you have a value of what you want for your land?
Honestly, I do not. Nope, just bringing it up, didn't know how far or fast questions might go. More of a put it on the agenda type of thing, so I apologize for not being prepared, but we can certainly look into that and have something ready or get information to the town probably in a week's time, I'm guessing.
Can I suggest, hi, my name is Doug Malek. Can I suggest maybe a subcommittee of your, 1 or 2 from your team? We can sit and get into more detail. Our goal is that you end up, it's a win-win, that there's excess land to do a lot of the other things you'd like to do in the township type use, and obviously we would develop it along with that. So maybe sub-team or subcommittee that could get together and kick around ideas. The valuation is the simple part. If there's no interest, then we move on. If there's an interest, then we pursue it.
Will it go to a plan commission first, or something to kick around for a while, or I don't know what might be the...
Well, you know, we as a town board are not authorized by anybody but our electorate to make these decisions. And so I guess there would have to be some notice of this, and we would need to discuss that. I don't know, how do you guys feel about it? Robin and I have discussed it because we're really the only two that can talk. And we discussed it earlier before the election. We know that we are seriously out of room here. It isn't that this building gets used heavily, but on a meeting like tonight, it is tight. We have confusion with this site being within the city limits. There is some voting confusion there. Voting is getting a little more crazy by the day. And
For sure.
we'll talk about that later. We also have some major storage needs as a town, not only for paperwork or other things, but we have a boat, a squad, and a personal watercraft. And those things, as we all know, are scattered here and there in our city. And we pay for those storage spaces, but this building doesn't owe us a nickel. Although it's beautiful. And it functions. What is it, Jim? Maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, we voted as a town to seek 10 acres, more centrally located in the county. I was looking over some of this paperwork over the buoys today, and there's a note in here about they're discussing land. They're discussing land, a town hall land proposal, 1984. Some property adjoining the town hall has been offered for sale. The clerk will contact the National Appraisal Corporation to obtain the value of this land before any decision is made. I'm pretty sure that was next door, I don't know.
Maybe
That's interesting, 1984. I thought that was interesting, you know, all that buoy stuff.
Inspection, apparently.
So, I don't know, what do you guys think?
We've been authorized by our electors to seek out, but not to purchase. And I know, Jay, we've discussed your spot a couple different times because it does offer a couple opportunities. One, you mentioned it's centrally located. Two, if we go to a recycling center, which a lot of these folks in here don't have a place to go. They don't have back corners. So you have equipment, so definitely it is a good opportunity. And if the timing is right, and we might not be ready for it, but when opportunity knocks, you know, we have to open the door.
Yeah, you know, in terms of what amount of space you need, whether or not it's even becomes a cost issue to purchase land, it may or may not be, I don't know. You know, like I said, the values will show themselves pretty easily.
Right, yeah. I think the biggest major investment would be the building.
The building itself, of course. So, yeah, and I don't know, what are the dimensions of this lot? Are they 70, 60 feet wide?
I think we got about 75 feet of frontage.
Sure. So,
I should know that.
I think our goal would, if we pursued this, would be that everything would be on that site. So we're not looking at 1 or 2 acres, we're looking at probably 5.
That's what I was
To build,
thinking too.
to build a shed big enough to house all the equipment that we have and things. And operate out of there, kind of like Town of Watertown does. Their facilities attached to their garage and everything.
Oakland, a similar space over there.
Christiana.
So you're looking at a substantial building cost, maybe half a million at least, I would think.
Yep.
And then the land, I don't know, land is, I looked kind of a little bit on the internet, but for 1 acre lots around this area, they're going for $80,000, or at least they're asking.
Is that for
Like-
buildable residential lots
Yeah.
or just?
A3.
Because I think that would make a difference too, as far as.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Larger parcels, 10-acre parcels are 15 to 20,000 per acre. So you're at 5, so you're still looking at probably $250,000 for land. So
No.
you're talking
No.
a 3/4.
No,
You're way over
no.
estimated.
Oh my gosh,
Oh, good,
no.
you're giving us land.
Yeah.
Good deal.
We're not talking those kind of numbers by any means.
By any stretch.
No, no.
All right,
No.
well,
Those are residential developed lots you're looking at, that's not,
Yeah.
this is raw land. And the
well,
same-
without knowing
Yeah,
a lot of these numbers, we don't know what we're looking at
and
for.
that's why I suggested maybe a couple of members of your team, along with Jason and I, sit down and we go, okay, here are the appraisals that we just got. This is what Jason's willing to swap land for, or whatever we can work out. It might make sense to do it that way rather than, in other words, fold the cards out instead of holding them close.
Well, that is the process I am involved in. I don't know about you, but that is certainly the process we are doing business in. There are only 3 of us on this board. I don't see any problem with us deciding to have a meeting of some kind to do some planning.
We just have to post it.
We'll just have to post it, and then we can all put our heads together and go from there. Like I said, we got a short window now between now and our annual meeting, but I'm happy that we have good attendance tonight to put more than one brain on this. It's not really what I had in my work plan for 2021.
Opportunity's not gonna. it's just
Well,
not-
and I
didn't-
think that too.
We didn't
I think-
we didn't have this plan either, and it's
What-
not. like-
What is the marketability of this building and what would be the best benefit for this end of town? We certainly know that these buildings have all been blighted for a long time, and I was happy when this restaurant got purchased by the city, thinking that it would finally get torn down and taken care of. So I guess we just need to kick it around and sit down and talk about it. We have some other needs as a town to discuss. We'll be going into our budget phase, and we also need to have a fall road tour, which we really didn't have this spring. So we've got some other times when we could be meeting and discussing this, so.
Okay, we're a week's notice or less, we can make availability
All
if
right.
you guys come up with a time when you're all gonna be
If
together.
you want to get together, we can do it.
Business time, business
Most
meeting,
times, yeah.
or I should say
Few
business
days
hours.
notice, Yeah.
Is this something we want on the annual meeting?
Well, I think we should probably be discussing it at the annual meeting. Does anyone in the audience have anything they would like to say at this point in the discussion? This is not a 3-man decision.
The collection plate will be sent around.
Thank you, Jason, for your time.
Good time?
Are you going to leave here before we talk about these projects?
If you would like me to stay.
Yeah, I'd like it if you would, please. All right, moving on. Item B in the new business agenda is discussion or decision on 2 channel buoys on Rock Lake near Sandy Beach for the Woodland Beach Resort members. Is there someone here representing them?
Hi folks, my name is Scott Franz. I'm on the board of directors of Woodland Beach. Thank you for your time. We'd like to address the safety issue that we've been facing the last couple of years about our boat channel being encroached upon for our shore-based boats for our renters and our associates. They're having trouble getting out sometimes due to the number of boats that are docked or anchored and just people standing around in the sand and just enjoying the weather. We were under the impression for a number of years that those buoys were indeed approved, and it came to our knowledge just a few weeks ago, back in July, that they were not approved by here, but they were approved by the DNR back in 1983. And then it was brought to your attention, I think, about a year or so ago. So we're looking for some guidance on how we should proceed and hopefully getting those buoys back. They've been there for as long as I've been around, so 40 plus years at least they've been there. They are now out, and we don't have a way of getting our shore-based boats to the water during the day, during the summer, or when the weather's appropriate and the boaters are there. So we'd very much like to get our boat channel back.
Who had you remove the buoys?
Officer Vince Pagliano?
Officer Vincent?
Vincent?
Vincent, I don't know his last name.
It is,
City?
no, it's
Ours?
town.
And when did that incident?
And what was that
take
reason,
place?
what was the reason for that, chief?
The buoys are not authorized by the board. And the DNR warden was out there, also indicated that there is
Oh,
no buoys
DNR
to be
warden.
placed, were also there.
Okay,
We've been out there numerous times.
all right. So it looks like they were permitted in 83 by the DNR. And then it said that this approval does not authorize the applicant to place the marker. A written permit must be issued by the municipality in order for you to place those. So I think I don't know if we've done a search for the permit.
I have not
You don't
seen
have
any
one?
type of permit.
No, sir.
So I think the ball got dropped someplace in 83, according to the minutes that we've got here attached. Supposed to be the clerk in 83 that did that, but apparently it wasn't done. So that, I think that's the missing step.
Well,
But now-
that means that our entire buoy plan will need to be revised
Right,
and
because-
reapproved by the Department of Natural Resources.
Because since then, all these buoys were permitted to the Rock Lake Improvement Association back in 83. And since then, sometime along the line, the town took all the buoys over, totally,
Yes.
Okay.
and submitted the application to the DNR for 27, 30 buoys that are out there now.
28. I think.
28?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, whatever. And so I think, like Hope said, these would have to be added to our plan and then a new application submitted to the DNR again and done that way.
Same, to the same layout as we did back in 83?
If
Well,
that's
I'm
what
not
you're
sure,
asking
I'm
for.
not sure that we really should be authorizing a channel. I mean, I'm not sure about that. This has been an unusual year on Rock Lake, and this was discussed a little bit at our Joint Rock Lake Committee last week. What has been happening this year, and I think you will all have noticed it, is that because of the crowding at the beaches and the hot temperatures that we had in the early part of the summer, people had more free time because of COVID-19, and they were out seeking a safe place to swim with their families. And so they've been pulling up places like this. I know this has kind of gotten to be a little bit of a hangout
Yes, it has.
between the two swim areas.
Mhm.
And they've been pulling up like in front of Bartles Beach, in front of Tyranina Park, to anchor and swim safely at a distance from other people. It's been a little troubling to some people, but you know, it's a different year and it's the new normal. I said, there's a little piece of that lake for everybody. You just have to find it.
Oh, we're not asking anybody to move or leave or change any of their behavior. We're just looking to get the safety aspect taken care of to where boats can safely exit the shore, leave shore and get to open water. And oftentimes during the week, that is not the case.
I'm not sure the DNR will look at it like that as a channel, but I think we should try to apply and see what will happen.
Okay.
In the meantime, I want to say one more thing to you.
Sure.
You have a swimming area that is marked, and you have some illegal buoys in that system right now. There are some big red buoys there.
There's 3 red buoys on the outer edge of it. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I think that those are not a legally marked swimming area. I don't think they're legal.
May I ask?
And I guess we'll need to look into that too.
Okay.
The other thing that we have in our ordinance is that we have a policy on swim rafts with no advertising. And you have a pretty big sign on your swim raft that says cabins for rent with a number. Totally illegal according to our pier ordinance.
I'll be glad to have those
Could be
removed.
easily fixed.
Sure.
I'm happy to work with you on this.
Oh, great. Thank you.
I think maybe we should take this to the Joint Rock Lake Committee. And they have been very involved in the buoy system and always are looking to answer the questions that come up. I think this would be really interesting for them to look at.
Okay.
And they will be meeting the first part of September, probably, I think the 1st or 2nd of September, is that the
Are those,
first?
are those public meetings?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And they meet at City Hall, they meet at 6 o'clock on the 1st of September.
Okay.
So I'll ask Wes to put this on the agenda and we can take a look at it. Does that work for you guys?
You got a
Go
question?
ahead.
I would just like to just jump in here and involve, knowing that Woodland Beach has a great big swimming area, they have boat launch, they have piers. And according to my talking to the DNR, it is illegal for them to have these buoys there. And that lake is public water for all people to use. And the amount of water and lake that they have, there's people coming up that are going and having a picnic, and it's a small spotted area, and to align two buoys and try to say, this is the way it's gonna be, according to the DNR, those buoys are illegal to begin with. That's free public water for all people to use, even those people that live on the lake like to use it occasionally.
So I think we should do a little consulting here and see if we're making the right decisions. I agree with you.
May I ask a quick question? You mentioned the 3 orange buoys. Why do you feel that those, or why do you?
Well, the color of them is not right. If you look at a regulation swimming buoy,
Okay,
it is a certain distance apart, small flotation things.
okay, like sandy beaches.
Yeah,
Okay,
we have one at our ferry park.
all right, thank you, that answers my question.
And those are kind of confusing to boaters. And this is another piece of public information we've been discussing in the association. You will see along the shoreline mooring buoys, which are white with a blue stripe. A mooring buoy is designed to be tacked from with a sailboat. Many people are using them as navigational devices, which is fine. Have no problem with that. That's in our ordinance. What seems to be popping up are bright orange ones, bright red ones. Those are not legal buoys. I don't want to go around the lake and do a headhunt on that.
Sure.
I just want people to know that when they place something in the lake bed of the lake, it's a pretty serious decision. And it should be done correctly with the right equipment.
I'm sorry, can I say something? Those orange or all the round buoys are not attached to the bottom, only the corner buoys, the taller
Yeah,
ones are.
the bobbing
Yeah,
straight up buoys.
yes, the rest are all just attached to those. So nothing is in the bottom of the lake except it's holding a tall, 3-foot.
Just think that they should be consistent with our ordinance.
Uh,
And that's one
I-
thing you guys could work on
I
in the
can-
safety area.
I couldn't agree more, I'd be glad if that brought to my knowledge, I think we
So
can get that
let's
taken care of.
take this to Joint Rock Lake and see what they have to say about the channel markers. Let's find out what we have to do to reapply for our buoys and add something to it and see what that review will look like. And then you are managing those buoys yourself.
Yes, ma'am?
I guess if we were to have those channel buoys, that would be part of our system and then we would be managing those.
That's something you would do?
Well, we're managing the rest of them. I think we should stay consistent. The history of these buoys is pretty well described here.
It's been around for a long time.
I don't know, where did this all come from, Robin? Your file or his? All right, I knew it. Because, at one time, there were no navigational buoys. And then the Improvement Association sort of took that on, and then the town became responsible
Well,
for
then
it.
there was a lake committee in between
Yeah.
there, which was three members.
So, again, just for clarification, nothing's gonna happen, you'll discuss it further in the first or second week of September, and that's an open hearing that we can attend.
Yes.
And that's the thing, that's all we know. If there's any other questions, I got a few other associates with me. May they ask a few questions?
I had a question if I could, just.
Sure.
Chief Miller, it's nice to meet you, Dan Donovan. I've been sending you pictures. I appreciate your understanding here. The gentleman declared that the buoys by the DNR were illegal. A letter from the DNR to the township in 1983 puts them in the legality. The problem is the township didn't react to that letter in an appropriate fashion to conclude the legality process. I think you found in the meeting minutes that it was intended to, and it was overlooked, misstepped. I would offer and suggest since the buoys have been in the place for 37 years, since there's a ordinance that says since 2016, we're gonna just kind of grandfather everything, I would suggest and request that we be allowed to put the buoys back in after the positioning of the township to make sure they're in a proper place, and then let you guys go with your process of whatever you want to do to clarify, to justify, and to clarify the lake itself. That way, we're not harmed. We were using the configuration again for 37 years. Okay, I came to Chief Miller back a year ago, June, and I said, Chief Miller, I went out to the boat. We had a telethon with everybody there. I said, help us understand what we're doing wrong. Because the buoys are in place per this letter. The officer said your letter is missing a concurrence by the township. I said, help me. Help me find out what to do. That was a year ago, June. Here we are, a year and a half later, and the gentleman brings private property from the lake and dumps it on our shoreline and says, these are done. A gentleman is not even a part of the township office, not a part of the township police. And this is what we've been dealing with. And now you're saying you want to go to the Rock Lake Improvement Association?
We're going to go to the Joint Rock Lake Committee, which is a
And
joint.
so you're going to ignore the 1983 DNR.
Well, it is over 50 years ago, I
It's
think.
37 years old.
37.
It's amazing that the township hasn't done anything for 37 years.
Dan?
Okay? There's another way to look at it. And let's put the buoys back, and then let's clean up the coloration on the one buoy, not a problem.
Remove the lettering off the
We are
raft?
being infringed upon because of an inaction of the township, and now we're being further infringed upon because another inaction of the township, but the declaration that we gotta go submit to the DNR again. Hope that's not the case.
We've only
The
have,
officer said, this is good, this is sound.
we have 3 weeks of swimming season left, basically. I would ask, second that. If at all possible, to maybe consider it for next season and allow us, at least let our renters use the boat channel or boat area to get their boats off the shore.
Well, you know my opinion. I'd like to discuss this with the Joint Rock Lake Committee.
Well, I
don't know anything about how the buoys were removed. I still think
That's
if we're
fine.
adding to our system,
what they've
we
been
are
there.
going to have that reviewed by the DNR.
Can we review it while the boat channel buoys are back in? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Do they provide you that much safety?
They do on certain days of the week, especially on weekends when the weather is nice. We've had from swim area to swim area, Sandy Beach to our beach, boats have been packed in there. Numerous boats. If it was 5, 6, we have no questions.
It's a
but
very
we've had-
different summer. It's a very different summer.
And it has, but you're affecting us monetarily by not having our renters and our associates use their boats as much as they would like. We're trying to make ends meet here through COVID as well.
Matt, what do you think about the enforcement?
As a member of the township, can I, I live in the township, what makes a beach area or a swim area within the lake? I mean, you got the city, Bartles Beach, Sandy Beach.
Well, it's all permitted in with.
What makes that area given to a swim area to a certain group? I mean, what's to keep 5 households from going together and saying, we want a beach in front of our house? The lake property is supposed to be the property of everybody,
these were
right?
historic, Kurt, that these were historic beaches in the town, and when the buoy system was put together, that was how it was recognized.
Okay, just curious.
But to answer his question though, there's a riparian zone that each property owner shares, okay? That's the area in front of that property. And you go, the day of this, 83, you look at the DNR first. Now my understanding is you need to go to the township first. But that doesn't negate the previous approvals. But to answer your question, riparian is described in the statutes for the DNR. And it shows you what you can and cannot do with it and how to approach it for approval.
I mean, you can park a boat anywhere on the lake, right? In any navigable waters, you can park the boat, and somebody can't come out and tell you you have to move the boat because it's in front of my property. It's an open lake, right?
Unless it's marked by a swimming area or a navigational channel, or unless it's got approval. And that's the point we're trying to make. We have approval. And we've been trying to work with you folks, and we really appreciate your efforts, but it seems that we're ignoring historical data that you had on file that took a year to come out, but that's okay. What we're here now tonight, that information exists. It's not illegal. It was approved, and at the time, it was approved by the DNR and then submitted to the township in a fashion for placement authorization. My thought is you could and you should be candid with you. Vote tonight with the placement authorization here by granted based upon the 1983 meeting minutes, and we will take this up further to clarify in the future so it doesn't happen again. Or if you want us to go to the meetings, we'll be happy to work with you. But we are being impacted in a detrimental fashion for following the rules, doing everything properly, and now we have people coming that they've ignored it since the year that I brought it up to Chief Mill.
But clarification, I don't think you followed the rules. Because like I said, when I started this approval does not authorize the applicant, that was you guys, to place the marker, okay? That's in the DNR's letter. A written permit must be issued by the municipality prior to placement. You're trying to blame all the blame on the town. But, and they're all deceased except for your dad. But you share in that, your organization or Woodland Beach shares in that because you didn't follow up either to get the permit. You placed those buoys prior to getting the permit. It says right here, you have to have the permit before you can place the buoys.
I appreciate that.
Well, you're leaning on that it was approved by the DNR. You're correct there, but the town didn't follow through and you didn't follow through to get the proper permits. So they've been in the water, I'm talking now, been in the water for 37 years illegally. That's my point. By this letter, illegally.
And what did the township meeting minutes say? Did you read those things to us? We appreciate it.
I gotta find it. You guys can read them if you can find them. Well, that's the city of Sandy Beach Park. Yep, that's the first one. Yep. This is the first one. I don't know what date it was. May, I can't read it. It's May 10th, 1983. Applications for buoys by the city of Lake Mills at Sandy Beach and Lakeside Park were presented to the town board. Leroy Nelson motioned to approve the buoy request and submit to the DNR for final approval. Mike Orcott seconded the motion and carried. Now that was some other buoys. The next was September 6, 1983. The next item was buoy applications. The clerk read a letter from the DNR which approved the mooring buoy application from Tony Biebel. Other applications for informational buoys were denied because DNR stated in a letter that the township must make the applications for informational buoys, not individuals. So there again, you know, the town has to make that application. This item was tabled until a meeting with the Rock Lake Improvement Association can be completed. That was that one, and then January 10th, 1984. Under old business, the first item was the Rock Lake buoys. Bill Ferry spoke representing the Rock Lake Improvement Association. He stated that the association was not responsible for the placement of the buoys in the summer of 1983. This was done by volunteers, some of who happened to be RLIA members. These volunteers still want to do the work, and the RLIA could not be responsible for the buoys in Rock Lake. Discussion followed concerning the town maintaining buoys in Rock Lake and having a town police officer present and responsible for having the same crew each year. This subject was tabled until the town attorney can be contacted regarding insurance and liability. Then in March 6th of 84, Rock Lake buoys, the clerk read a letter from the town attorney indicating that workman's compensation insurance will cover volunteer workers and that the Rock Lake Improvement Association is willing to pay the non-owner's boat liability policy. The clerk was requested to obtain the insurance and submit buoy applications to the Department of Natural Resources. And I assume that's all you,
So what I did was I went from one point in time, based on the dates given, to another, looked for anything relating to buoys in the minutes, and this is what we found. That was it, anything related to buoys.
but that doesn't really refer to your buoys. None of those do, so. Apparently, that's about the time the town took over the placement of all the buoys from the Rock Lake Improvement Association and the Rock Lake Committee. They got, and then there was a Rock Lake Committee formed. There was 3 members. The guy that owns the brewery was involved, one of them. What's his name?
Thurston?
Pardon?
Thurston?
Yeah, he was on that committee, him and 2 other guys. And they did all the placement of the buoys and stuff for several years, and then the town police department started doing it. Probably in 1995, something like that. So,
I appreciate the background of it. But I think you can appreciate our frustration is that they've been in place for 37 years. And magically, a group of voters decide, and let me share with you, there's a photograph that Robin has, it was somebody's 60th birthday. And the officers were not on the lake. And that picture depicts what happened.
Was that from Melissa's letter?
I'm sorry?
Was that from Melissa's letter that she
Yeah,
sent today?
yeah, the email that she sent, yeah. I mean, that's what, and we cannot, and I think there's a concern here from a DNR perspective in the lake rights. We cannot access our shoreline from the lake when these boats are there, because the buoys are gone and keep them, it allows them to go in there. And we cannot access our lake shore in our riparian zone directly.
And nobody else can either.
No, it's blocked. I don't, and I'll share this with you. The officers allow those folks to anchor their boats, and they leave them unmanned. That's a violation of the lake statutes. So it's just amazing that 37 years go by, and one summer, in about 2 months, into somebody's birthday, magically the buoys are gone. Without much discussion, no one called the landowners. It was kind of an after-the-fact kind of activity. So I appreciate you listening to me and letting me share with you our frustrations on this topic. And I haven't even mentioned that we had police come down because of noise. And there's a Sandy Beach ordinance that talks about noise. There's a Sandy Beach ordinance that talks about being 50 feet away from swimming buoys. That picture shows you they're not 50 feet away from our swimming buoys.
Well, you aren't 50 feet away from your swimming buoys either when you're entering or exiting your
No,
shore station.
the boats have to be anchored.
No.
That's the rule.
The boats are, you
Anchored.
can't anchor. The rule says you can't anchor a boat within 50 feet. You can use navigation in the boat. Hope I'm giving you the background.
I understand.
And
I understand. I've made a suggestion. I think that's how we should follow through on this. I'm not going to say that it's a good idea for you to put those buoys back in this voting season. I want this to be discussed on the 1st of September by the Joint Rock Lake Committee. I will take their recommendations and we'll go forward on looking at how we can resolve this problem. It will not be resolved until next year.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, gentlemen. Item C, a discussion and/or decision of a request for maintenance of the Majala Channel. Mr. Prober.
Good evening. My name is Glenn Praber, and I'm one of 3 speakers tonight, and I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to our concerns regarding the public active waterway. We'll be happy to answer any questions after our presentation. So the question is, why are we here and why are we here now? Our top priority is to keep Rock Lake safe for all public to use without concern. The continual runoff that is deposited into the Majala Channel as sediment is also being deposited into the lake. We are here because we want the township to take full responsibility of the Majala Channel. We want the township to fund the dredging of the Majala Channel, which is a public active waterway. The dredging must be completed because the pollution in the sediment continues to get worse on a daily basis. As compared from last year to this year, now it's going into the reeds. And the pictures that you have now show it not even into the reeds. I went out last night with Mr. Schrader and showed him that the sediment phosphate is in the reeds already. So we want the township to put a maintenance plan into place to deal with the sediment and contaminants like phosphorus and bacteria that is being dumped into the public active waterway and Rock Lake. We want the township to work together with the DNR and all other resources to secure grants and all funding that is needed to dredge this public active waterway on a continual basis. This will benefit all the people who enjoy Rock Lake for recreational activities such as boating, fishing, swimming, relaxation, canoeing, kayaking. Also all the spawning of fish, the cranes that are in there. We have the frogs there. According to a specialist told me that the ecosystem has to be a certain amount for them to be there, the bullfrogs, and all the little critters that we see going up and down, including mink and muskrats and such. So as property owners, these are the things that we've done. We've maintained our shoreline to the specifications of the DNR to further prevent erosion and pollution to the lake. We know that everyone pays taxes, but please keep in mind that the 10 property owners in the past 25 years alone have paid $1,456,375. After the initial dredging in 1957 of $100,000, the 10 property owners have paid an additional $160,000 to maintain the public active waterway, above and beyond the maintenance of their personal shorelines. And the total dredging additionally was 7 additional, which is $160,000 that was paid by the homeowners. We strongly feel that this is not the responsibility of the property owners to financially maintain a public active waterway. So we have secured a DNR permit for 5 years. We have some dredging quotes. We have 175 feet for $82,000 that covers one homeowner and a partial homeowner. We have 325 feet at $122,000, covers an additional 2 homeowners for a total of 4. And then we have the full channel of 850 feet would be approximately $148,000, and that would go all the way to the end of the public active waterway. There are additional costs for removal of sediment and location for a dump site, and there are additional costs to remove and replace homeowner piers during the dredging process. As you can see by the numbers just mentioned, this financial is unattainable. Our homes on the channel were all purchased as having access to the lake. Our property values will continue to decrease if a maintenance plan is not implemented. This means that our taxes will be reduced and less tax money for the township. One other thing that I wanted to add was, because of Korth Park, there's 100 parking spots and roadway of asphalt that is dumping in, as everybody knows, and there also is additional piping that comes from Shorewood Meadows Drive, and occasional when the big floods come, we get a large amount of water there. With that, I'll let my next person up. If you have any questions, we'll answer them quickly.
Hi, my name is Lee Gadsky, and I'm going to give some history of the channel. The current Miljala Channel was originally created by a developer in 1957 to provide water access to Rock Lake for 10 lots in the Miljala Shores development. A small stream flowing under Cedar Lane drained a wetlands upstream that was long ago altered by farmers to drain water off their fields more quickly. Over the next 40 years, the channel filled in with sediment from the stream. In 1997, the 10 landowners along the Miljala Channel paid to re-dredge it, to allow once again for lake access to Rock Lake. The price tag was $100,000. In 2004, the residents along the channel erected a turbidity curtain crossing the channel roughly 30 feet from Cedar Lane to try to contain the sediment within that boundary. This was done shortly after the first maintenance dredging was necessary since the 1997 dredge. It was hoped the turbidity curtain would prevent sediment from entering the rest of the channel and ultimately Rock Lake. Of course, the sediment would need to be removed as it filled up within the boundary of the curtain, but that was easily reached from Cedar Lane by a large backhoe. Since that first maintenance dredging in 2004, dredging has been necessary 5 more times. In 2006, 2009, 2011, 14, and 16. We tried to dredge again in 2019, but an early winter prevented it. Each maintenance dredging resulted in 250 to 350 cubic yards of sediment removed. The average cost of each maintenance dredging was $10,000. Along with sediment, bacteria, phosphorus, and other pollutants continue to pour into the channel and lake from the stream. Testing of the water in the watershed of the stream and channel have revealed high concentrations of phosphorus, nitrates, bacteria, and other pollutants. Oxygen levels in the channel have been depleted so badly by bacteria present at times that aquatic life has had to move out to the lake just to survive. Phosphorus levels are feeding algae blooms in the channel and Korth Bay, which get worse each year. In 2013, Rock Lake Improvement Association hired an engineering firm, Montgomery & Associates, to study the problem and develop a solution. Montgomery & Associates partnered with UW-Madison to study how to mitigate the flow of sediment and pollution into Rock Lake. They wrote a plan which Rock Lake Improvement Association plans to follow once permission is gained for access from the 6 landowners along the stream feeding the Miljala Channel. We still do not have permission to access all lands, so the plan waits until we do. Meanwhile, the sediment and pollutants continue to flow 24/7, 365 from the altered stream and Korth County Park land. The study points out what needs to be done to slow down the flow of sediment and pollutants, which will clean up a lot of the issues we're now dealing with. This issue has recently gotten out of hand. Sediment has overwhelmed the turbidity curtain, knocking it down in places and bypassing it, filling up the channel, making it unnavigable 160 feet beyond the boundary of the curtain. At the current rate of sedimentation in 3 years, 4 of the properties on the channel will no longer be able to access Rock Lake by boat from their docks. The other 6 will suffer the same fate within the decade. The sediment and pollution is depositing faster now than it had before. And I'll turn it over to Wendy.
Hi, I'm Wendy Davies, and I live on Cedar Lane, and I'm a 2-year member of that area, just bought a house. I guess you should all feel the passion that we have, all being township residents. We have this passion to protect the lake. It needs to be saved, as you heard earlier, to secure the habitat for the wildlife and recreational activities and on, as we spoke of earlier. We know this is not the first time the subject's been before you. We know this, we would hope this is the last time. We all have certified survey maps at different years. Mine's from 1996. It clearly labels a dredged public channel, as we've mentioned many times. The Miljala Channel needs to be dredged and a maintenance plan put in place to guarantee the safety of Rock Lake for all. The responsibility of the Miljala Channel needs to be the township. The township needs to secure all the resources available from the DNR and grants and whatever to dredge the channel and maintain the flow of the sediment. As mentioned before, this is only going to continue to get worse and cost even more to resolve. We would like to hear a motion for the town board to dredge the channel and work on a maintenance plan. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Are there any Questions or comments from the town board?
My only comment is that, I was involved in your 1997 channel dredge where the town actually provided you the loan, or we secured the loan through the state to help you out that way. And it was a nightmare to charge all the 10 different owners for these two right here. The other thing is your study that was done by UW, and Patricia Cicero was involved in that, identified all the issues of the pollutants and things which are on the south side of Cedar Lane. So my opinion is that you're never going to solve the situation until you do the work on that side of Cedar Lane. I think it's just, I understand you're losing the capability of the channel and getting out onto the lake and things. And I understand the phosphorus loads that are coming in. But that study showed that all the phosphorus was coming from that land, those farms and everything out in the watershed. And that's just not, even dredging the channel is not going to solve the phosphorus load. It'll give you navigability to get in and out of the channel, but until that work is done on the other side of Cedar Lane, I just don't see that any way of getting around this other than dredging it every 4 or 5 years, which is very expensive. And I don't know where the money's going to come from the town either. I don't know if there's any grants available or anything like that anymore. Grants are getting pretty tight, even for roads. So
Clearly, that we definitely agree with that. We think, dredge the channel would at least lower the phosphorus going in now, but we also set a maintenance plan, which is what we're talking about. The maintenance plan is to get that upper area resolved, and it's not going to happen overnight. Even if tomorrow we all went and did what the plan said, it's still not going to resolve itself overnight or in a year or two. It's got to build up.
Right.
But until then, if you dredge the channel, it will prevent what's there from going out into the lake.
I would also add to that we have one homeowner that will not let us on his property at this time. And I don't know if that property is for sale, but I've had some discussions with Gary Anderson, who lives the farthest to the left as you're heading out Shore Hills Road. And he said that he would be interested in buying that because he sees the value of it, him living on the channel for, I don't know how many years he was there, but he built that house that Josh and Megan live in now, next to the Brown House. And, but we have one homeowner that won't even allow us to do the planting that would, according to the study, would alleviate 65 to 70%, is that right?
Yeah.
So we've been, it's not like we haven't pursued and talked and would be willing to work hand in hand with the town. So it's unattainable for 10 families, of which 7 of the 10 are retired, and there's people that just are not going to put forth any effort anymore financially for whatever their
I
reasons
can't
are.
afford to. It's that simple. If the town can't afford it, how do you expect them people to be able to afford it? It's kind of silly if you think about it that way. We want a solution. There has to be a solution. It can't be as difficult as it seems, and it's going to be a 5-year thing to come up with one little thing that might work. There's got to be something. I don't believe that there can't be.
The solution that you're seeking is money, though.
yeah,
That's the solution.
Well, there's got to be some other solutions other than, one, not being able to do something because of one property. We're suggesting that the township thinks about it and maybe tables it or proposes to look into some other forms of ways to
I don't know if any of you understand the tools that are in the toolbox that are presented by the state of Wisconsin. And one of those tools is the formation of a lake management district, which is a taxing body. It has power to collect a very low amount of tax from people who live within the lake management district. It then has the ability to create funding for projects like this and other projects. It's very unfortunate that we do not have a lake management district. There was a pretty decent try to form a lake management district in the late mid-90s. I can't remember, 90, 91, 92, 93. I was very involved in that. I was the president of the Rock Lake Improvement Association at that time. This would have given us a way to have not only a board of people who live around the lake in both municipalities, and also to have that idea of being able to create a source for funding so that we could do matching things. We don't have that tool. We certainly could look at that tool. That is a unilateral thing for people that are in the district. I can't remember what the taxing rate is, but it's something like 0.003. It isn't a lot of money. We had a great deal of trouble at that time, even obtaining the signatures to consider the formation of a lake management district. And what came out of that was a lot of discussion about the lake, a lot of management steps being put in place, and then the formation of the Joint Rock Lake Committee, which was an intergovernmental committee that was created by the city and the town to sort of function as a lake management district board. This past weekend, we had our annual meeting of the Rock Lake Improvement Association. It was disappointing to me. We honored Glenn Zastro for 22 years of service on that committee, and I don't think we really have made any impact upon the city of Lake Mills in those 22 years. It's been very disappointing. They sort of turned their back and with disinterest on the lake. And that's disappointing to me in the sense that it is the centerpiece of our community. I'll credit Wes for working on this as far as he has gotten for the many times he has dredged and worked with you guys. He has led the way. I can see that his fuse is burning down pretty quickly. I don't know what the solution is, but I'm pretty sure that this board agrees with me, and I've told you this personally, Glenn. I don't think that it's a good way for us to spend our tax money on these 10 properties. My property happens to be upstream. We're one of the people that are cooperating. We have some uncooperative people in that area of 6 properties who do not want to do any cleanup of that watershed area. That's disappointing. So we're kind of between a rock and a hard place.
Well, the only other thing that I would add is in 2017, this is something that was going to be addressed by the town because it's getting close to Cedar Lane Culvert. And as you can see, unbeknownst to me, when David and I looked at it last night, it has increased another 3 feet on the other side of the culvert. And that's going to become an issue for the road, and the cost factor for repairing that is going to get even worse. And that, over the 3 years that that has been there, that has also moved in and contributed to the amount of runoff that we're having.
And he's right, it is definitely a contributing, and hope, when we were looking at it last night, it's really a lot worse than it was a year ago. It is undermining the shoulder. And so right now, the way I see it, you have 2 urgencies. One is the riprap on the north side of Cedar Lane, to try to shore that out, because you are getting sediment coming off the roadways. There's no doubt about that. That needs to be taken care of. I think we've talked about it a couple different times, and I think we need to move on and do it. The other is, the Trinity Curtains is like closing the barn door after the cows are out, and it's okay, it's a good idea it's there because it does stop the sediment. Your next real urgency is that needs to be dredged, the curtain needs to be fixed, because it's dilapidated and it's allowing sediment to continue to flow in. You're gonna get sediment from all over, from, you know, erosion from the banks. I know you have really good riprap on yours. You know, I think you get like 0 sediment coming in off yours, but, so those are the two things that are really kind of immediate to get that short second, because it's fall.
And we, Lee has gotten a farmer that would take the sediment. We've already secured that.
Okay.
And I've already talked to Mankey, who would take bolt lifts out at a reduced rate, because there's a lot of us who have to pull the bolt lifts out. And so, I mean, we are willing to work with you, but financially, there's not 10 families that are involved, and it is a public active waterway. I got pictures of people fishing in there. I got kayakers going there because it's a safe little water area. There's fishermen in there every night, and that's what it's there for. It's a public active waterway. It is not the responsibility of 10 homeowners who already live there, maintain their shorelines to the DNR specifications, and pay 22 to 24% higher taxes. So if you figure over the 25 years, the almost $5 million, they've paid $300,000 taxes higher than somebody that's across the street. And that is going to go away if that waterway dries up, and that's money that comes to this township.
Right.
And so that's another thing that needs to be considered.
And I think, Glenn, what you're talking about there is the third piece. You know, the dredging of and repairing of the curtain would help prolong the third piece. You know, and obviously the third piece is a crucial piece, but
And the third piece is the dredge?
yeah, which would, you know, by dredging on the south side of that curtain and repairing that curtain would buy you a little time. And maybe then you could get a lake association going, you get a collection, or maybe we earmark and start collecting for it ourselves.
Good. Comment or a question?
Go ahead, Jason.
Comment. Instead of a riprap process, potentially, because some of my history tells me sometimes there's no bottom to those areas. And if you're not gonna hold the rocks and keep your shore, typically, especially around that culvert area, would a sheet pile system be more significant?
That definitely would fix it. And when you look at it,
Where you
Jay,
could stabilize the road edge and that
Yeah.
entrance to the culvert, your turbidity barrier would be more effective eventually, as opposed to a riprap that's placed in to try to hold the bank, where it just wants to keep doing
Right,
this all the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
So-
And you got two things going on there. Right at the road bed, there, that's water running off the road on each side of the culvert, that's literally eroding it out. Once you step away a little bit, you know, still in the road right away, there you're getting ditch bank slough. So, you have a little bit of both. But highlights,
on the town right of way.
Sure.
I don't know the shorelines, honestly, I haven't been in that area in my lifetime.
it would be kind of like
Just thinking,
a horseshoe thing,
Right.
and it definitely would fix it. It definitely would fix it. I don't know how expensive that stuff is, but
Well, we have a design for that. That's the plus, you know. We have a design for the riprap that was done by DADCAP, and Wes has shopped that bid around.
okay.
He's shopping it around and checking with those guys again.
That's one piece hope we should move to the front burner. of this.
Well, it's right here on our list of projects from
Okay.
July.
And I say this too with all due respect, obviously, that we all enjoy living on there, and that's why we bought our property, so we could have a pier, and we didn't, you know, the expense of being on the lake, obviously, there's a lot of very expensive homes also on the lake. It's our little piece of heaven,
Mhm.
but when I have to look at that every day, it's not so
Yeah.
nice. And I feel like it's bad customer service. Everybody knows stuff's coming down, everybody knows that's the one property owner or whatever it may be, things that could be preventing it, and nothing's being done, and we're the ones that are left holding the bag for it. It's just bad customer service, we're taxpayers. And that's not right, it's not fair, it's not right.
Anything anybody else wants to say?
I'm tapped out.
I have one more comment in that, I guess, again, with respect, it isn't just the 10 homeowners that are going to benefit from this. Clearly, the things that Leah said and Glenda said, you know, it's talked about the safety of the lake. Yes, we'll benefit. We'll be able to keep our boats going in and out easier. Some of us already still can. Some of us can't. But it's really the whole, we're looking at the whole thing. And so it isn't, we might get some immediate benefit, but in the long run, the lake's getting the big benefit.
Right, yeah, because there's really nothing you can do about the dissolvable phosphorus. There's really nothing you can do about the 95 pounds of phosphorus that goose poops every year. And I think a duck does like 45 pounds, you know, so there's really nothing you can do about that. But it's the undissolvable phosphorus that is a problem. That you can do something about.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I'm actually shocked that you guys haven't written the check yet.
We're gonna write two tonight. One for the town hall, one for the dredge. No problem.
Nobody expected that to happen. What we wanted to do was open up a dialogue between 10 concerned homeowners and the town to see if there was a solution, because money's tight. In my way of thinking, the DNR's got grant money. Right, is that a fair statement?
Yeah, but I don't know if it's specifically earmarked for dredging.
See, these are the sorts of things we have to find out. If you don't have money, we don't have money, ain't gonna dredge. Like if you can get the DNR involved, apply for a grant, it's going to have more force behind it if the town board, if the town helps champion the process. Am I making sense? Rather than the 10 of us, if you guys would consent to be the point people in a discussion with the DNR to see if there's grant money available to help the situation out, that would be a step in the right direction.
Excuse me, sir, what's your name?
Keith Clark?
Okay, thank you.
Do you guys still have the $1,000 per unit kitty per year? That's all kind of went away.
We were never told that.
Who hit the kitty?
Jim, wasn't there always a fund for that? That was way back in your time too.
I don't
know
recall
anything
that.
about a kitty.
No. They didn't have a homeowners association. I think all those things just dried up and stuff, so.
Well,
But
I'm gonna say this.
we do have this,
We have a joint Rock Lake committee.
right.
Your concerns have not, I mean, I guess they've been shared through Wes with that committee, because he chairs that committee. And there are other members of our township and city on that committee. I think that's the place to start, and to look to see if we have any opportunities for granting. You know, we're gonna come up with that, but what they're gonna say is, we want the three-legged stool. You got this kind of money, town's got this kind of money, county's got this kind of money. This is how we're gonna pull it together, you know? That's how those things work.
Well, what do you advise us to do next?
I think you should go to the Joint Rock Lake Committee and find out what kind of grants are available, and if the town can be helpful in that.
See, the thing about it is.
So what you want tonight is us to say we're writing a check.
And we want you to say that you're willing to help do that. You tell us to go do that, but we want you to do that, and we'll be right behind you.
Great. I didn't really want to be a lake manager.
But you're a town board, that's why we're here.
Anybody else got any great ideas? Okay, we're not coming to much of a resolution in this. I think we should move on. We've got other things we need to hammer
Well,
out.
I still have, what's with the project that was gonna be done this last year? Where is that, dead?
Project.
It's
The
number
rip
6.
wrapping we were gonna do the rip wrapping at this culvert, and then the property owner was gonna do,
Right, and we
Gatsby.
have bids
yeah, we
for
have
this.
bids. It didn't get
Wes
done
got-
last year.
Wes got all those bids. They were all associated with the idea that the dredging would be done and then the riprapping.
Right.
So it was like the same contractor. So now we're going back and re-looking at those numbers if it's only the riprap that needs to be done.
So we're,
Still
that project's
seeking.
dead. Even
Well-
though you secured the landowners and all that stuff.
We have 3
They're not-
different
we're
bids.
We're not moving ahead with that at all?
We have 3 different bids. We need to talk about that in our project list. It's on the list.
That's number 6, Jim, I see.
And we've got bids from, Wes is getting new bids from all those guys, but we've got bids from $3,000 to $10,000, I think, for that. And that would be our portion of the right-of-way and part of West Dawson's property, and it was going to be a 50-50 split. That was what we agreed upon. So we're still looking at those
Okay, we're still looking
excavation
at that.
numbers.
All right, that was my
And
question.
our only thought here is that I can go and talk to the DNR. I don't have the ability. I'm retired Glenn Craver, retired fireman, just trying to get a thing. The town board is the town board. And the town board will be looked at in a more serious light. to
Well,
be
tell
able
me
to-
who I should talk to and I'll talk to him.
Well,
I think
somebody-
we've beat this to death.
Somebody at the DNR. I mean,
Well,
there has to be stuff.
Susan Graham, and she'll tell us if there's money available.
Okay, and that's what we're looking for.
And how has this been addressed in the lake management plan? Just with the positive idea of putting forward to manage that parcel.
Well, we know we gotta get this taken care of right away. I mean, because that's gonna become an issue that's gonna be even more than,
Yeah.
that 10,000 is gonna turn into 20,000.
Great.
If that isn't addressed by
Yeah.
the rules. And I didn't know it was that bad. I took those pictures this morning.
I can't see the forest from the trees, but, and that is part of the problem. We're gonna have some tree trimming that's gonna have to be done down there too. So I'll continue to work with Wes. I said it before, you guys owe him a great debt of service because he's worked really hard on this whole thing since he took over from Jack Pearson. He's worked really hard on it, and he will continue to help me with the riprap part of this. So
Okay.
we'll be discussing that in a few minutes.
All right.
Okay? Thank you, you guys. It's a very frustrating scenario.
So I don't know what we're ending, what are we ending with? What does this mean, I guess? I don't understand what's gonna be next.
Means we're gonna see if there's any grants available.
We're gonna
That's
look
the
and see
next
if there's
step.
any grants available, and we're gonna work on step 1, which
Right.
Dave said was the riprap.
Right.
The maintenance of the turbidity curtain. Do you have a permit for that? And what kind of maintenance would be allowed to be done on the turbidity curtain?
Wes has all that information.
The turbidity curtain can be repaired to perpetuity.
Yeah.
You've got a permit that allows for it.
Okay. All right, we'll continue to work on those things and go forward from there.
And we'll look for a pot of gold at the
Yeah.
end of the ring.
All right.
It's coming right our way.
Find it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Item D, discussion of a resolution to County Highway Committee to open up portions of several county highways to UTV and ATV traffic.
That's me. The ATV UTV Club has been working with George Jaco, the Jefferson County Highway Committee President, or Chairman, whatever his title is. And they had talks with George, and then George wanted to talk to me, so we talked. And the county wants to move forward, present this to the county zoning committee and see if they can open up some small sections of these roads, which would be Highway O from South Crokeville Road all the way down to London for ATV, UTV traffic. And then County Trunk B, they want to have from Pine Street basically all the way out to Shorewood Hills Road where it intersects with B. But the section of County Trunk B there from Lakeview Road out to Shorewood Hills Road would be local traffic only. So there wouldn't be any UTV, ATV trails up through there. It would be just people that live in Sherwood Hills that would be able to get back out of Sherwood Hills and get to Rock Lake Road to continue north. And the other one would be County Trunk V, of course, from Mo's Place down to Pizza Pit. George and I did talk about this. He wants to move forward, and he asked if the town could write a letter in favor of it or whatever, talk about it anyway. And so I said I would draw up a resolution and then see where it goes. But we're not here to pass anything tonight, it's just discussion. If you decided that I should move ahead with this, I'd give this to Robin and she'd type it up for our September meeting. I could read it if you want me to, but basically, that's the roads they're looking at.
They did say that if it did happen from Pine Street out to Sherwood Hills, that there would be an arrow at the end of Rock Lake Road only pointing in towards town for food and gas. But the ultimate goal is to try to connect Lake Mills Township to Waterloo Township, which is connected into Dodge County, which is all accessible mostly. Most of their roads are accessible for UTV, ATV use already, all the way up to Lapon, Lomar. So, as far as going towards Sherwood Hills, they do definitely want to make sure that it's local traffic only, because we're not trying to encourage people cruising around there.
There, you know, it's 45 for about 0.2 of a mile, and then it goes to your 35, which then you're covered underneath the state statutes.
So I think the ultimate goal is from Waterloo Township, to be able to connect up Highway O to the north side with the county, going into Waterloo, to Newville Road to Cemetery Road to Rock Lake Road, down to around the north end of the lake to get fuel, food.
Yeah. Did you talk to the town of Waterloo about that? Because that's all town of Waterloo up there.
I've talked to Jeremy Ellis over there, and the club is actually from that area, so the club itself has been working with the county as well. For some reason, the county, from what I understand, hasn't asked for a letter like they asked him to put together. But Waterloo Township and the city of Waterloo are totally open for UTV activities.
It may be a good idea, you know, if we do this, that the town of Waterloo does the same thing, because then we'd have some consistency to what's going on. Here's a suggestion.
I can talk to them.
Yeah. Otherwise, Jim, I'm for it. I think it's fine. It makes perfectly good sense. It gives ATVers, UTVers a path to our local businesses. And since we've passed the ordinance, I don't hardly see any UTVs or ATVs on the road anyway. It's not like there's a flood of them.
So we'll put that on our agenda for our September meeting, have that typed up.
For the resolution. Is that what you have, right, Jim?
Yep, it's a resolution.
It's a resolution, and then you'll be forwarding that on to the county, I assume.
Well, after it's passed.
Yeah.
What I would recommend doing, I'll give this to Robin after the meeting, then she can type it up and then submit a draft to everybody for review before the September 8th meeting. If you have any comments or something, you can work through Robin and, or corrections or whatever.
Okay.
Sure.
And then we'll have a resolution on September 8th, hopefully.
The other thing that's hanging in the wind a little bit is County Highway V.
Yeah.
From Mo's to,
Pizza Pit is where this, you were told.
When I originally went to the city manager and talked to him, he had told me that we could put a sign up between the property of Pizza Pit and BP. And then again on the other side by Quick Trip, a sign saying that the town of Lake Mills was going to be open for UTV and ATV use. By the time I got from the city manager's office to home, I already had an email from the county saying that I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
It was a county.
that was the county highway commissioner.
County highway.
And he's not elected, he's appointed. So
And from what I've been
George
told,
made that
is-
clear.
Yeah,
And he has no authority to do that, so.
Bill O'Brien had nothing to say.
So from
They can make a
what you
suggestion.
guys approved, was it was a town road that was approved for UTV, ATV use by the state statute. It says that any township road or the county road within the township that was approved is automatically part of it because of that statute.
Right.
So we have people that want to go down and get gas, but they are afraid of getting ticketed, so
Right.
we haven't done anything.
Yep. I know that's what Bill had said too, that he would really like to see signs so that you have, black and white.
Who is Bill?
The president of the Quad County Runners Club.
Well, I think they should be allowed to put a sign on, so open it up.
Well, that's what this is for. I mean, if it doesn't happen until the county approves it or whatever, it can wait that long.
All right, we'll put that on our September agenda. Thank you, Kurt. I hope we have all the signs put together. I think there were some questions about the signage.
We had a couple older signs that, when we originally did this, I told you that we were gonna switch out with newer signs, the newer, whatever the legal state was, the.
No ATV.
The line through it is no longer legal, but the no ATV signs are, and we switched those out already.
All right, okay.
I thought that there was an email that came out from the county saying that they did the visibility.
Yes, but there were some questions on that. He
Okay,
had some questions about what signs.
I guess,
We'll go back
Robin,
to
would
that
you have
email.
those questions that you could forward them to me?
Go back to that email and make sure that we got that all recorded properly.
Because he had a few on there, on the original map that we didn't have to put up then because of speed limit zones and stuff. that-
Okay, so then do we have a correct map now, an actual corrected map?
Did he, when he did the visibility study and stuff, did they
He didn't make a
record
map.
it or no?
Well, they recorded everything,
But I
but
get
then
that.
he had some blanks in your mappage.
Okay, could I get a copy of that sent to me again and I'll update the map?
Will you do that, Robin? And we'll try to work this out between you, me, and Ty Barnes.
Okay.
Make it happen. Okay, item E. Discussion and/or decision of various projects to be completed, including a drainage ditch on Saddle and Bridle Path, maintenance of the retention ponds on Sherwood Hills North subdivision, and the retention pond cleaned out on Sherwood Hills Road, and other various maintenance projects. We asked Robin last month to make us a list of these projects. Jay has done some bidding, so has Ron Bennett from Northwest Services. I think we should start at the beginning of the list and work through that and discuss it. The first project is the ditching on the corner of Saddle Lane and Bridle Path where the cattails are standing at W 8254 Bridle Path. I was out there yesterday. The house directly north of there is now being built. So I think that that pretty much has settled the dust in that neighborhood. We do have a bid from Mr. Forrest on this. No one else seemed to be interested in it. Saddle Lane culvert ditching and restoration, $3,896. Below that, Jason, you've also put in Phillips Lane ditching and restoration. I looked at that yesterday. I'm not exactly sure that is really necessary.
Okay. Water seems to stand there once in a while, but, yeah, they can mow it. I guess it's mowed.
It looks well. It isn't full of garbage and it isn't full of
Okay,
cattails and stuff.
all right.
I guess I'd really like to solve this problem, and I think now is a good time to do that, now that the houses are pretty much built there. I don't know what you would say, Mr. Forrest, about the timing on that. I suppose it has to be dry in order to go in there and rework that. so that the water drains from that ditch around the corner and then up through their driveway culvert. We got some highway numbers in front of us. I don't know how you guys want to approach this tonight, but I think this is one of the things we really need to take care of.
Yep.
So you're gonna scratch off item 2 then?
Yes. On Jason's bid.
And on your,
I think the ditch looks good. We can look that at our road tour, all right? I would make a motion to approve the expenditure of $3,896 to improve the culvert and the ditching at Saddle Lane and award that contract to Forest Landscaping.
Second the motion.
Is there any discussion?
Question, are you going to possibly select 1, 2, 3, or some or all or none? Is that what the process is?
Yeah, I think that's where we're gonna be here as far as
Versus take all of this work as a process? Okay. All right.
That isn't the way you understood it.
Well, you need to consider how much you do and what things are, just so you're aware of that.
Right.
yeah, for, move-ins and move-outs.
Yeah, so if you just keep that consideration open, that if 2 out of the 5 are chosen or it's picked.
All right, that's a good question though.
Yeah, I would like,
All right, this third thing on the list is the ditching on the farm on County Highway O at N 6642 County Highway O. I will never be able to fix the fence problem
No.
that lady has.
No, but does need a little ditching actually to the north of that culvert. I don't think anything south on her lot needs to be done.
It's
It
north.
doesn't flow to the north. And I don't think it's more than 50 feet you need to have it
Yeah.
taken care of. So I don't know what you looked at there.
Is
I mean,
that,
the
a-
description
We talked
said
about
south.
50 feet.
is that a project that we used to do being a Highway O?
Pardon?
Is that a project that we should be doing, Jim?
Oh,
It
yeah.
is a county
It
highway.
is a county highway, isn't it?
Now, why don't we just put that one off to the side here right now too, and I will talk to the county about that.
We could send them a bill.
Yeah, but I think we better talk to them first. All right, the fourth thing on the list is to clean out the retention pond along Sherwood Hills Road near the rock wall. This is commonly known as Bryce's Pond. Jason, why don't you describe what you have put together for us? Because you know how contentious this issue is.
Yeah, I did not see that with me, I apologize, so.
Well, it's,
so yes, a lot of the water needs to be removed. We've attempted that once or twice, set up pumps to discharge the water with DNR approved bags and dewatering process system, and that was stopped immediately. So it's more or less a vac out the sludge with a vac machine, a large truck with a vacuum on it, to try and remove a lot of the water before any solid stuff can even be grabbed with a bucket and loaded out. So, yeah, it's a pretty pricey operation for the amount of work that needs to be done, but since it's been stopped a couple times, I think options are getting less and less to remove water before we get to remove leaf debris and the bottom containing materials. So it'll be a combination of a vac truck, excavator, dump truck, those kind of things.
and do you have a site, Jason, then to go with that debris or spoils, as we call it, in the dredging business?
Go out to my property.
Okay.
Be allowed to dry and essentially be composted or something between
Sure.
the sticks and the leaves and the silt. It can be
Sand,
sand.
put it back on the road.
We're probably not going to recycle that.
Jason's bid is coming in at $8,780. I know that there's gonna be some road cleanup that's gonna have to go along with that. I don't know if we have the right weather this fall. I mean, it's pretty dry right now, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But we could have another
Dry now.
really wet fall. It's all gonna be weather dependent.
Sooner the better on that one.
Yep, I would say.
Love to have that done. You guys wanna make a motion?
I make a motion to accept the $8,780 to dredge de-water and dredge the Lower Shorewood Hills retention pond.
Second?
Jason Forrest.
Any discussion? I will work diligently to inform the neighbors. If you will help me when you are sure you're ready to go ahead, you know, we can work together on that. We need to make some progress there, so thank you. Next on the list. I have some questions about this, Jason. Clean out the retention ponds on the Bridle Path, in the Bridle Path subdivision area. Last week, you weren't here for this discussion that we had with Jamie Gould, that where he is building on a waterway. He's been very unhappy that we are not willing to just sacrifice that waterway. And it seems like there's some parking going on, there's a pull-off there that the next door neighbor is using, you know, and that's town property, and it's just been a little sticky. When they were here last week, they had a big packet of covenants that were the covenants for the Shorewood Hills North subdivision. I had never seen the packet of covenants before. They were quite indignant and angry with us because they wanted to change it. The covenants say that the homeowners are responsible for all the maintenance out there. I guess I'd like to know where those covenants are at. Are they applicable?
Title company has them.
Are they applicable? Did they meet? Do they agree to this?
This was all approved through the township, and it would be at the title company, and every homeowner has a copy of that.
And so they are part of that association no matter what happens?
Correct. When you purchase the land, they pay the association fee during the titles process and the purchasing of the land.
All right, so we have to do maintenance out there. You've done some maintenance. Can you explain the history on those ponds?
For the first 2 years, the developer is responsible for periodic mowing twice a year or a certain height. Completed that for the first 2 years from the start of the project. And then tried to, at the, I forget what the, if it was 75% or certain amount of lots sold. 60% of the lots sold, then there was a time frame in there. Tried to get an association meeting that was sent out to homeowners, got all the homeowners that own property on that project got a letter inviting them to a meeting to start an association, of which they've been paying dues to. When they purchased the land, basically one time. Since then, there's not an association to ask for dues because there was only 5 or 6 people that showed up and there wasn't enough people to get a vote. Nicole, I believe, down at Jay Smith's old office. Jay Smith started some of this and then Nicole took over. So she invited everybody there to try to get a quorum or start an association, and it did not work that night. So at that point, according to the covenants and the developer agreement, all that stuff, unfortunately it's sad. And don't know where to go with it. It's a completed process for developer to the township. It's basically completed. And without an association knocking on doors, paying some bills and generating some money to do maintenance out there, it's not getting done, unfortunately.
So that's not our responsibility. You're just telling me it's their responsibility.
I believe it would be the homeowner association responsibility.
It's clearly spelled out in those covenants.
Well, I think we need to write some letters.
Do you think you could supply us with a copy of that covenant? I, for the life of me, never saw it.
Sure.
But then stuff was coming at us pretty quick.
I'm sure Ayers has a copy of all that stuff, but
All right.
I'd be happy to get a copy too.
See if you can get us a copy of that. And we're gonna have to discuss how we're gonna go forward, if we're gonna do any maintenance, or if we're gonna,
It's draining right now, right? I mean,
Yes,
these
it's
ponds are
draining.
dry.
It's
These
just-
ponds are dry. They're dry ponds, right?
Yeah, ponds are functioning correctly, they're handling the water, they're meeting all the engineering standards, all the DNR all the runoff, they're functioning correctly, they need to be maintained. There's a certain soil mixture that was put in there to help absorb water, grow certain types of plants typically. Without maintenance, they're going to grow plants that are not going to let them
Right.
drain and
That's what's happening.
maintain it, so you're getting all the little sticks and the little things starting to sprout and different stuff.
Because there's really nothing to be removed as far as sediment, because
No.
you have special dirt in there.
No, we only need to mow, and
Yeah,
if
just
you
mow.
mow, we have mowed once, the big pond, we mowed once 2
Which is-
years ago.
Right.
That's a
And now the
different
other
thing.
little ponds are starting
Yeah.
to get sprouts.
There's some, you know, just from construction runoff and erosion in yards, there is some material that's at the
end
neck, at the neck influence of each of these ponds, of the two western ponds.
Sure.
So there's some stuff that probably should be removed. I haven't walked down there in the last year and a half, so is
We'll take a
it
look.
6 inches, 12 inches, 2 inches for 10 feet long, or, I don't know exactly.
And then what would you do then? You would remove that sediment and then you would mat it?
At the mouth where
Yeah.
it comes in, yeah, you ditch out the material and then reseed it basically, the native grasses, just a DOT mix of some sort for.
Right, yeah.
And that's why I was so very hesitant when Jamie came before us to make any changes to that engineering plan, because we
The ditches are considered part of the absorption of that.
Yeah.
whole thing.
And he just doesn't seem to want to be able to take no for an answer. And so that Mr. Fugelstedt is an engineer and he wants to do the engineering on it. And so I was disappointed that they didn't have something for us tonight. But it's a challenge now to figure out how we're going to keep that maintained. It is good that we have full house out there. People are tired of watching houses be built.
Our dreams back then were to get the Rock Lake, or what was it, Shorewood Hills Association. What's the large, I forget the exact name.
Rock Lake Improvement?
No,
For the homeowners association.
Rock Lake Homeowners
Right.
Association, this is the second smaller one. You know, that was the dream because they are a good organized body of getting dues paid and having things organized. They got a board and things happen and you know, we're hoping to have them absorb this project and maybe there's a door. Now that the houses are up and they see it works, I don't know, is there a way to reach out to them and see if they would?
What is the alternative then? If they do not ever form an association, we either make a conscious decision to allow things to go back to nature and/or we special assess them?
Yeah, that was my thought.
We need an ordinance that states that the town needs to charge back to the homeowners for the maintenance of those because they're the ones that benefit from proper drainage in that area.
Kind of just like what we just heard here.
I think we need the covenants, and we need to talk to the attorney
Okay.
about this. I think there's another step, though, that we could write letters to all these people and tell them that, you know,
Since the meeting was
their responsibility.
probably at least a year ago, this attempt was made, maybe slightly more. Probably a year ago, so is there another 6 or 7 people, another 6, 7, 8 houses out there? Maybe there's some more interest on 33 lots versus 20?
Well, especially when they know they're gonna get special assessed.
Yeah, maybe there'll be some interest from someone.
So that letter that we write, that I'm proposing we write, it should state that, you know, you either create your homeowners association, you're responsible for all this maintenance. If you don't create your homeowners association, you will be special assessed. Or at least, whatever, $10,000 a year.
So
Minimum.
Jason, can you purge your file and come up with what you can for us about when that meeting date was and who attended, that kind of stuff? That would help us. We're gonna have to make a legal way to go about this.
Yeah, we need to work through the attorney.
Okay, so does that mean that at this point in time, we're not doing anything in those retention ponds?
That's what it means.
Be my guess.
All right. Then the riprap along Cedar Lane. Now, let me tell you how this is going down. Because those bids were all tied to the dredging, the riprap bids, there was a, you know, what do you call it?
Order of magnitude.
Set up.
So Setup charge.
Setup charges, right? So Wes has gone back to the 4 different people that he talked to, and I have reached out to Jason for another bid. I've also reached out to another firm. We're trying now to get at least 3 good bids on just this portion. And the other thing that's important here is Wes wants to go 50-50 on this, and he says that his pocketbook is hemorrhaging. He will spend up to $5,000 for his portion. And I said, I thought that that was reasonable for us to figure out. So let's wait until we have the bids, which I can produce, I think, by the 8th of September, and then make a plan to go forward from
Why
there.
don't we pay for the riprap and have Wes pay for the dredging?
You're a horse trader tonight, huh?
Well, I don't.
Why don't you bring that up to him? I think that's a great idea.
I mean, I don't know, I don't remember what the bids were for dredging and all that, but, you know, actually, and we're willing to take anybody's money, but that roadside is the town's responsibility.
Yeah, but he wants it to continue on to his property.
Oh.
That's what we're talking about.
I didn't know that.
No, it's a split.
That's different.
I think in the plan, have you seen the plan?
Nope.
There is a DAT-CAP plan that's put together, and I believe it's, what did he tell me? I think it's 70 feet.
Okay. Because Jay has 40 to 50 on
Yeah,
his.
so we gotta get some better numbers going here.
But you're talking riprap?
Yes.
Stone stuff?
Yes, which is the, we'll need to do some clean out as far as trees and shrubs and stuff go.
Yeah, that stuff's gotta go.
And we're gonna have to, there's geotextile, there's, I think, 30 tons of rock, and, you know, it's all in the specs, so. Let me pull that together for our September meeting.
Well, what about Jason's suggestion? of
Yeah.
Piling, sheet piling.
You know,
Along the
how much a
road.
foot that would run? Of course, obviously you have to know how long the links were and you'd have to pound them in and all that stuff, but.
We've, I ordered a bunch of that stuff for doing shoreline and river work.
Were they 30, 40 foot lengths?
No, you can get them any length you want. It's a Z-sheet style.
Yep,
They
yep,
have
I've seen
together,
it, yeah.
and you drive them down. They look similar to you drive by a money interstate.
Yeah.
I mean, you see this big,
Yeah, I've seen the pipeline use them, so I know what they are.
So knowing what that's, the bed, you know, probably what the subsoil is like out there, you'd be able to get
Yeah.
leverage in there.
My guess is muck the floating sand.
Might need to anchor them, do some cable tying back into the shoreline somehow, something, you know. But if you put them in a horseshoe shape on town property or something, now you're creating that concave, you know, which is gonna be really strong. I mean, you get a
Right.
slight curve out of these or 90s, you can buy quarters, you can buy 45s, you can buy 90s, different things like that. They can be 15 feet long, and you get them embedded to whatever length, and if they drive at different lengths and they don't all settle, torch them off and, create a head wall there
Right.
at a reasonable height, and you could riprap behind that or put some type of drainage stone behind it.
Right, yeah.
Against the town roads, just metal or, sticking out per se.
So I guess what we had been working on, and we've been working on this for darn near 5 years, is we were working from a DAT-CAP design that was done by the local DAT-CAP designer. And he made all of the specs. One of the things that Wes and I have been really concerned about is, will this work? Because of the situation.
Yeah.
And because of the bids we got, along with the dredging, it got really muddled, and I wasn't confident about it.
That sheeting would fix it.
That's staying.
Would we need to have another design? What kind of permits are gonna be involved in that kind of a project? Guess I can do some research on that,
I would probably let you steer on that, my suggestion, yes.
because I'm sure we're gonna have to have some kind of a design, and we're gonna have to have some kind of a permit. And you know, anything that's worth doing is worth doing right. That's why we felt really unsure about some of these bids. So I think it's good we go back to the drawing table and work on that.
If you could approach it that, it doesn't require a, pile driving equipment, because that could price you right out of whatever's going on. To have somebody bring in a special pile driving backhoe versus, conventional backhoe, now you're talking multiple types of companies to just drive these Z-sheets.
Right, yeah.
Versus driving piles into, 20 feet deep, that's a whole
Sure.
different, now you're got a $50,000 or an $80,000 project versus $10,000.
So you think you can bang them in with your backhoe?
Right, there's a shoe we put on the end of the machine.
Okay, sure.
Vibrator down, things like that, so.
Okay, well, let's keep thinking about that. I'll see what I can find out about permits and design and how that would all work, because I've just been really hesitant, and I know Wes has too, about the riprap. Because it's so steep there and there's so much runoff from the road.
Correct.
All right, more work, put that on the agenda.
So should we call it riprap, or should we be looking at calling it something else for Cedar Lane?
I think we should just call it riprap, that's what everybody's used to calling it.
Okay.
The next thing on the list is the Elm Point boat launch, and that's kind of like a no-brainer, so it's not really the Elm Point boat launch. It would be the property that's next to Cooper's with the 70-foot access, and that's just a small section of fence. I don't know of any other projects other than we do need to reach out to Daybreak and figure out what they're going to do to repair the road before winter and to seek a solution on the culvert. And I reached out to Rick today about having someone come to our annual meeting to give a presentation on Daybreak, and I want to be able to work those two things out. The bond that they were to post, they were supposed to post a $10,000 bond. Don't know if they ever did that.
Occupancy bond?
That was a road repair.
Yeah, that's what they,
Oh,
We have that document
Oh.
here,
it was in the resolution for the agreement for the overhead conveyor. It was
Oh.
written into that.
And so I need to find out if they've got that bond in place, and then we need to do some repair work out there.
What I was wondering, Hope, is if we, Ron, you're still out running around with hot mix, aren't you? Potholes and stuff. That culvert, it does need attention, and really what it is right next to the road bed, it is settled a little bit, and then over top of the culvert, it's humped, and then you get a settled spot. I think if that was, if you filled on each side and, tampered in, that would, it's still gonna be a little bit of a bump, but it's not gonna be like it is. It's not gonna be dip, bump back onto the road. So I don't know if you wanna wait, or just get it fixed and say, Rick, here it was, this cost us $1,200 or whatever.
Just seems to me when they had all that paving going on, they should have just fixed it.
Well, it is paved, but, and they cut through the road, so they're really responsible for that cut.
Let me talk to them before but you might want to look at it. You know where we're talking about on Crossman Road.
I think it's a couple-hour fix, and it would make a lot of people.
I don't know if you were here, Ron, when we were discussing the fact that we need to have a fall road tour, and we're going to have some work that's going to have to be done later on, so we can put that on we'll figure out who's going to do the repairs on Crossman. Make sense?
When are you gonna talk to Rick?
He told me via email today that he would find somebody to represent us and that we would soon discuss this, so.
Okay, is Patrick still here, Rick's protege?
He submitted the raise permit for the farmhouse.
Yeah,
So
that
that's
was,
still here.
Patrick Finn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I think the sooner the better we could get an agreement and get it fixed.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of tough. And Jay will like it too when the snowball goes over.
can we do a special meeting with him and all three, publish it? Can we all three be involved in this?
Yeah, I don't want to do any special meetings, but that's
Why?
fine.
As long as it's
Those,
posted.
those, yeah.
Okay,
Ron, could you drive by there, take a look at it, and tell us how much you think it costs to fix it? So then when we talk to Daybreak, we can say, hey, you know what, we got a guy that can come in and fix this thing, and he can do it for whatever.
so you take a look at it.
If you could do that, that would be good.
So can we go back to our list of projects, that number 7, the Elm Point boat launch? We're not doing anything with that, correct?
Well, that is a small section of cedar fence, and as far as I'm concerned, it's not driving the bus like these other
Okay.
things are.
Just want to make sure I finish my notes, sir.
We'll maybe do that after we build that town hall. I said that just for you, Sharon.
Did you take your donations with you?
There was a tree out there too, right? That needed, did you take that down?
They want a tree planted.
No, there was an email about a tree that was leaning over the
Oh,
person's.
that's a very
No more
interesting
warnings.
story.
No more-
That's a
no more
very
warnings.
interesting
Not on the
story.
agenda, though.
If you want
Well, special projects. Okay, fine. Let's move on.
You want to add that
I'll
on to
tell you
this
about
list,
it.
we can.
I'll tell you about it. Okay,
Yeah, okay,
Correspondence.
go ahead.
We can do it there.
I think we pretty
Yeah.
much have dealt with those projects. I don't know how you feel about it, but those are the things that we would like to get accomplished this fall. We have
So,
the ditching on Bridle Path,
Saddle Lane culvert ditching.
the Price Pond. It is just two things.
Yep, two things.
We took the
We're gonna
county
check the
highway
county.
all off the list,
Yeah, we're gonna
and I'll talk to the county about
get the
that.
county to do that one.
Okay,
And what are you gonna do about the riprap thing? You're gonna get some information to Jay so he can.
yes, I'm gonna
talk
figure out what kind of a design and what kind of a permit we need. So we'll keep moving forward on that.
You think we need a permit to work in the road right away?
No, I think we're gonna need a permit to do that, to do the sheet piling. I'll find out.
Find out, yeah.
We'll find out.
All you can do.
Interesting that it's attached to the culvert, you're not adding to the shore, adding material to the shore.
Stabilizing a road.
Yeah, it's a road bed.
It'd be a gray area, that
Yeah.
wouldn't quite as much permitting.
All right, we'll figure it out. You, start looking at that, what'd you call them? Z panels?
sheets?
Z sheets, okay. Do you have a project that you did like that, Jay, that we could look at?
No, we installed and took them out for a boat ramp. We poured a boat ramp.
And you put those in to keep the,
Over in Jefferson.
Just on the other side of the dog food plant, that boat landing for the city of Jefferson.
okay,
We put them in and then sealed off the water, dewatered it, poured concrete, pulled them out, and boat ramp.
all right, okay.
We use it for shoring stabilization of sewer and water mains all the time.
Okay. Good. I think that might be a better solution because the soil down there and this angle of the slope. That's why we were just so unsure about those bids. All right, moving on. Item F, discussion and decision of the Board of Commissioner of Public Lands approved loan disbursements. You fill us in on this, Robin.
So we have our two loans that we applied for. That's been approved, and then we had to do the additional $90,000 loan in order to do the refinance. That's also approved.
All right, and I'm assuming we're needing to sign these things.
Right, we need to sign, and so we know when we want to disperse, things like that. I would think that the refinance one, that was obvious right away to be done. The 90,000, we need to make plans for, decide if we're just gonna flip it back. I don't know.
We need to hide it.
I'll owe it back at
We
some
need
point.
to not spend it,
Yeah, we need to hide it.
Right.
because it'll be gone.
The only question
So-
I had, Robin, it seems to me I was reading here somewhere that the full amount is due in March.
Yeah.
This should be broke up into 3 installments. I'm looking for, I don't know.
Ooh, I thought that's what we were dating.
See the,
Where is this?
it's been a while since I've read these, sorry.
I read it here somewhere. Where is it, dude?
So it says at the bottom here, it says that loan prepayments are due, they won't be made in September to December. Any refinance must close after January 1 and prior to September 1. Is that what you were looking at?
So the first loan payment for the $360,000, that was going to be a one-time
Oh.
coming in 2021. but
Yeah, I
then
saw it on the highway
refinanced it.
budget, that's right, saw it.
Yes, so now we have one payment due this March and one payment due the next March.
Right, for the 360, but now we've got that 90,000 also.
That's why we don't even, we just had to do that.
So,
We gotta hide that money. under your bed or
Oh,
something.
yeah, right, yeah, so it's on this page for the state, 377,000, payment due March 15th, 2021. So now, under the refinance, then we have two payments of 171 or 172, is that correct?
So what's on that highway budget information, that is what was original before we got these refinanced.
Okay,
So that will change once
Yeah, this
we
is
know what
all
that
loaded.
payment's gonna be.
I guess it spooked me. I thought, "Ooh, we don't have that."
Okay,
Sorry.
wait for that to settle too. All right, item 9, old business. A, discussion and/or decision of the road use agreement with Asphalt Contractors, Inc. Sorry you guys had to sit through our whole long meeting here, but you know how it is.
No worse to watch the Democratic.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah, exactly.
I'm getting tired of this.
Well, then let's pass it.
All right.
Move it on.
So would you make that motion?
Did you have a chance to review it? You've seen it? Any questions?
Yeah, I saw it this morning, I called Hope, the only change was we wanted to make sure we had April inspection with a May.
15th, yeah.
Right, yeah.
We got that put together, so,
So,
yeah, we looked at it, yes, we're okay with it.
I make a motion to approve the road agreement between the town of Lake Mills and ACI.
I will second it.
Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the road use agreement for Asphalt Contractors, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign.
So we can be productive for him, can we sign a copy of that?
Yes.
Take
Yeah, I
it
was
with
gonna
us?
ask, can you sign the 2 or 3 copies and I'll take it to Rob?
Here, you can have another one. You can sign it, I don't need it.
Okay. This is the one I gave you tonight, right?
No, Bob, I'll sign it.
Yeah, I'm sure he really will be
You need
sorry.
another one, Robin?
I have 2 here.
Yeah,
so
2
I
should
think
do it.
that's- Okay, so there's, on the second page, hoping your signature on
Okay.
that, we'll have to fill out the dates and such at the top.
Yeah, we'll put the date on it and sign it, we're all right with that.
And I'll get our copy from you at the end of the meeting. You want to sign our copy right away?
Yeah,
Bob has it.
Bob has to sign it.
so yeah, you gotta give them
I'll
both.
take it to the office and we'll mail them back.
Okay.
We're all
So
right.
you need Hope to sign,
Yeah, well,
or
no.
she
How
signs.
many copies do you want to make, Robin? How many copies?
It'd be nice to have an original back for ourselves.
Yeah, no, I'll get you 2, if you want 2 or whatever. I mean,
One is enough.
One is enough,
One
you guys?
original is good.
Okay, that's all right.
I guess you need to sign this one yet.
So you're gonna take these with you, get his signature, and then send one original back to us.
That's right.
Okay, got it.
Got it.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Sorry you had to sit here.
Oh, thanks, folks.
But it's always a good lesson in government.
Yeah, I haven't seen this before.
I saw you sleeping over there.
All right, thank you.
You haven't started anything out there yet, right?
No, we did not yet.
Because there was a complaint about Jake brakes being used, but you guys aren't even out there.
This is what we're gonna watch, you know, the other folks coming around from where you know where.
Well, and we did have a complaint. We had a complaint about the county highway department speeding out there,
Whoa.
which I
They
sent
were
right
not.
over.
Well, and then there were the Jake brakes, and I don't know who's doing that.
We
It
have,
wasn't the county.
Well, that's what I said. There's been so many contractors out there this spring, it doesn't really matter.
and we'll have to sort it out with the chief or whatever it may be, but, no, we haven't taken one truck in there yet.
All right.
So we'll hopefully get it sorted out.
All right, thank you. All right, item B, discussion and decision on the MLS grant. I guess I was a little frustrated when I heard that the legislature is playing politics with our road grant, but what has happened, and I think it actually will be beneficial to us, is that the MLS grant is still in place. It will then become very much like our trip grant, our
Trip.
what is it, darn it, LRIP.
Elbert.
Local Road Improvement Program, which I have been informed is a little less lengthy of a process. I mean, we are at least familiar with working with that process. I was a little dismayed to see that in the paper, the grant she assumed was awarded because of the construction that had been done on the highway, and that is untrue.
Right.
The construction that was done on the highway was done in the improvement of the Daybreak plant, but that road has definitely fallen way below maintenance standards. So it isn't just because of Daybreak that we are redoing Crossman Road. I want that
Right, yes.
to be made very clear.
Yes.
And so the grant is still in force. We're going to need to sit down and do some really very serious road planning on how we're going to use these funds. So that's just for public information tonight. We really don't have to make a decision because we've already assigned the grant and we are already beginning the design process. Item C, discussion and/or decision of adoption of amendments to Town Ordinance 4-1 General Offenses.
It's been posted, we had our public hearings, and now we just need to
And
adopt
so I
it.
will make a motion to approve the amendments to Town Ordinance 4-1 General Offenses.
I'll second it.
Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, thank you. Everyone in favor of this, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. D, board expense sheet approval. Anybody have expenses?
I did, but I don't have it with me.
All right.
Got election stuff.
Correspondence. We have several items, including the letter we received from Forrest. We also have a letter from Melissa Fearman. You guys have seen that.
Yes.
What else do we have, Robin?
Briefcase, Tom and Valerie on Shore Acres, the one that you had me make
Oh,
copies
yes,
of.
the Creegies. You guys got a copy of that?
Yep.
And that is a complaint about the condition of Shore Acres Road. We patched it, but it too is not in the best shape. So we'll be looking at that on our road tour.
I would like to bring up, I've gotten a lot of calls and emails in regards to absentee voting and all the hubbub on the media about mailing and things like that. If people if they want an absentee ballot, they submit their request now. Using the myvote.wi.gov website is probably the quickest way to get it to me. Otherwise, they can contact me and I can step them through other methods. If I have that request in hand, when I get the ballots mid-September, I will send that out immediately. So they will get their absentee ballots as soon as the ballots are available. Obviously, there's a little bit of turnover time because I'm one person doing it, but I've got most of the envelopes already ready. So it's not going to take a lot of time. Biggest thing is if they want to return it and ensure it's getting to us and not have to mail it back, we have the secure lockbox that people can drop it in. So I think that's going to help alleviate the mail issues, returning it in time, timely manner, people being concerned about if it's getting returned. Biggest thing is if they're concerned about whether or not it has gotten back to me, they can check the MyVote system. As I'm getting them, I will update that into the system so they can look up their status and see if their ballot is back. It does take time to do that, but I try to stay on it as much as I can. They can also just call or email me and ask. Yeah, if they're concerned, I want them to communicate with me and I'll work with them so they know if they have the security that their ballots are getting back. So.
Well, it's a very different election, and I appreciate the effort that you have put in thus far, and I hope the message gets out that it is very easy to apply for an absentee ballot, and like you said, there will be a great deal of time in between the time the ballots are in our clerk's hands and that they are then mailed to you in your hands to vote absentee. Should be no problem. And how many days post-election do those ballots count? They don't.
They don't. They have
They
to be
need to
back
be-
here election night before 8 o'clock.
So, and again, those ballots need to be returned to the town hall, either to the post office box, which is secure in the front, or they need to be turned into the clerk the day of the election, before 8 PM. And that's all we can do to help with that. Appreciate it. All right, I think we gotta talk this over. We got meetings scheduled. September 1st is a meeting of the Joint Rock Lake Committee at 6 at City Hall. September 1st is also a meeting of the Plan Committee here at the Town Hall at 7. September 8th is the annual meeting of electors. I really think we gotta start at 6 PM. I know that's,
I agree, there's gonna be a lot of
It's
stuff.
gonna be a lot.
and it's gonna get dark.
Yes.
And there is some lighting up there, but not enough
And I
to
did
continue.
repost that and ask for any agenda items to be sent and notify people.
Okay, so we're changing that to 6 PM, and then I think our meeting should immediately follow the annual meeting. We won't wait till 7 to start that, we'll just do it right away. And then, I want you guys to think about a road tour, and I guess we also have some real estate concerns we want to think about. I really hate those special meetings, but I think we need to plan the road tour for September, and I think we need to deal with this real estate issue.
The other thing I want to bring up is our assessor asked for a different board review date on October 7th.
So is that a board of review? Is that what you're saying?
Board of review from 4 to 6 PM.
October 7th.
And he's going to hold open book the 16th and the 17th, one from 2 to 6, and then the 17th 10 to 2.
That's September.
Right, so the open book isn't what we're necessarily attending, it's the board of review
Yeah.
on October 7th.
What kind of a day is that? A Wednesday? Okay.
In the style.
I can't.
Because he needs to make sure that he's giving himself enough
Yeah,
time to
between
get those
that and
30-day
the
notices out. So
I knew he'd be making some changes. Okay, is there anything else that needs to come before the board tonight? I would then entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.